Welcome to Gunsmoke Theater. I'm Dennis Daly. Very few radio or television programs had such an impact on their medium that they changed everything. One of those shows was Gunsmoke. Yes, it ran 20 years on television, but the TV show was a child of the radio show, which itself ran nearly a decade. Sit back now for the next hour as we go back into the archives and play some of those great episodes of the show that changed everything, Gunsmoke. This time around, we enter a new year on Gunsmoke. The first show is from January 1st, 1956. By this time, Gunsmoke Television was the talk of the town with James Arness, Milburn Stone, Dennis Weaver, and also with Amanda Blake. It was a different kind of show, but it was, well, it still owed its heritage to Gunsmoke Radio, and that is the focus of this series of shows. So keep in mind, here's the cast and crew of the radio version of Gunsmoke realizing it now had some competition from television that kind of stole the show.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed, thanks to Accuray. They satisfy the most.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely. Chester and I were about 30 miles from Dodge when we ran into the buffalo hunters' camp. We'd been holed up for 2 days in a deserted sod hut, taking cover from one of the worst blizzards in years. But it was over now, and a warm, dry Chinook blew out of the west, down off the Rockies and across the prairie into Kansas. It was Chester who saw the camp first, a pile of buffalo hides half covered by snow, and the skeleton of a wagon, its canvas torn and shredded by the blizzard. The camp was silent as we rode up. We got on.
There ain't nary a soul here, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, maybe the men got caught out on the prairie when the blizzard hit and couldn't get back.
It sure does look that way.
I don't know how that team is still alive with nothing but that wagon for protection.
They don't look none too lively.
You sure can't blame them.
Get your hands up, both of you.
You better do what the old man says, Chester.
He was hiding in the wagon.
Come over here, closer.
This your camp, mister?
Of course, it's my camp. Now, you two drop them guns.
We got our hands up. Isn't that enough?
You'll do what I say. I ain't taking no chances. I ain't going to get left here again.
Left?
You're going to hitch up that team, and you're going to take me into Dodge. You ain't running off like Jed Lorner.
Who's Jed Lorner?
He was my skinner.
Oh, why did he leave you?
Well, he seen that blizzard coming, and he didn't want to take any chances, so he rode off. He's probably been in Dodge all the time, warm and cozy.
Oh, why didn't you go with him?
I twisted my leg and my foot so I can't ride a horse, that's why. Larner figured driving a wagon be too slow.
You mean he left you here to freeze?
And I'll kill him when I find him. And I'll kill you if you don't drive me to Dodge.
Now, here, he's a U.S. Marshal, mister. He ain't gonna leave you out here.
Marshal?
Yeah, that's right. Now, why don't you put down that rifle and tell us who you are?
Well, all right. My name's Ira Puckett, Marshal. I'm usually up north following the Republican herd, but I come south this year. I'm getting old, and I thought it'd be warmer down here.
You sure made a mistake about that, didn't you?
You'll get me into Dodge, won't you?
Sure, of course we will.
Foot I twisted. I don't feel nothing in it. Must be froze.
Huh? Well, it could be.
I'll kill Jed Lorner for this.
You forget about that, Puckett. I'm not taking you back to Dodge just so you can hang.
I'll forget it. Till I find him.
People everywhere are finding that Chesterfield packs more pleasure. Yes, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. For the more perfectly packed your cigarette, the more taste and mildness are released for you. And Chesterfield, made with Accuray, is more perfectly packed than any cigarette could ever be before. Firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying to the taste. And Accuray Chesterfield has an open, easy draw that unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos. So remember, Chesterfield packs more pleasure. Buy Chesterfield. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
Well, how is he, Doc?
Oh, he'll be all right, Matt. In time.
Well, then his foot wasn't so bad after all, huh?
He didn't have much foot left when I got through with him.
Oh.
But he'll be able to walk with a cane. But his buffalo hunting days are over.
How does he know that?
I told him. Ira Puckett's a proud man, Matt. A little too proud.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, what he hated most about this Jed Larner leaving him on the prairie wasn't the fact that he might have died, but that he was helpless. A man like Puckett can't stand being helpless.
Yeah, I see.
So now, all crippled up, he's a better man, Matt.
Well, he'll get over it, Doc. A man can get used to most anything in time.
I've got my doubts about Puckett, though. Well, you know that ornery old goat? He won't even admit how old he is.
Oh, how old would you guess, Doc?
Oh, he's past 70 anyway. He's in the back there if you want to see him.
All right.
I'll come with you.
Well, hello, Puckett.
Marshal,
How you feeling?
Doc tell you what he done to me?
Yeah.
He ruined my foot.
I saved your life, Puckett.
I ain't sure I'm grateful, Doc.
You're going to be all right, Puckett. You're going to be able to get around.
Yeah, like old woman. What am I going to do for a living? I ain't one of you city people. I live off the country. I always have. I'm a man, not a dude.
You'll get used to town life. And you'll find men here, too.
What kind of men? Walking around all slickered up, parting the hair in the middle, bowing to the ladies. Ain't one of 'em could do half the things I've done. Well, I was living with Comanches when most of 'em was sniveling in their mother's aprons.
Yeah, I know. But you'll find something to do. I'll help you.
You will, eh?
Oh, sure.
Then help me find Jed Larner. Bring him in here so that I can kill him with my bare hands.
What does Larner look like, Puckett?
Oh, he's tall, black hair, got a big scar running across one eye and halfway down his right cheek.
All right, I'll try to find him. And if I do, I'll run him out of town before you get to him.
So, can't even trust you, can I?
Not when you want to murder a man. I told you I didn't bring you in so you could hang. The next few weeks, I kept a sharp eye out for Jed Larner, but he must have headed for some other part of the country. Anyway, he never showed up in Dodge. Well, time passed, and Ira Puckett was able to get around a little. First with the help of crutches, and then finally with a cane. But it was obvious his hunting days were over, and that alone seemed to shame him. Then one night his pride really got a blow. I was at the Long Branch having a beer with Kitty when it happened.
Oh, this is a great way to start the new year, Matt.
What do you mean, Kitty?
Well, last year I was hoping maybe I'd be in San Francisco by now.
Oh? You never told me.
What would you have done about it?
Oh, nothing, I guess. Why San Francisco?
No blizzards, no dust, no cowboys.
Yeah, but they got fog.
Yeah?
And all those sailors and miners aren't any gentler than these cowboys, you know.
Well, I know. But imagine going to dinner in a carriage, eating off a tablecloth, dancing on a hardwood floor.
You're spoiled, Kitty.
Well, now, how could I got spoiled? Here, in Dodge City?
Save your money. You'll get to California someday.
Yeah, sure, if I walk.
Well, a lot of people are gone that way.
Who do you think I am, Sacagawea?
There was a woman.
Yeah.
You know, I always...
What's the matter, Matt?
That man at the bar, he just turned around.
Which man?
The one with the scar down his cheek. I'll be back, Kitty.
Good evening, Marshal.
Evening.
What are you staring at me for?
Your name Jed Larner?
And if it is?
How long you been in town, Larner?
About an hour. Something wrong, Marshal?
You remember the big blizzard we had?
Who don't?
We all do, I guess. Especially Ira Puckett.
What?
He didn't die, Larner.
Well, that's fine. I went back looking for him. I wondered where he'd got to.
Yeah, sure you did.
Well, it's true.
Puckett's here in Dodge, Larner.
He is?
If he finds you, he'll kill you. But he isn't going to find you because you're leaving right now. And don't show up around here again.
Now, wait, Marshal.
I can't arrest you. I can't put you in jail. But I tell you what I can do.
What?
Suppose I just let everybody here know that you're the man who ran off and left Ira Puckett to die.
No.
You know something? They'd tear you apart, Larner. They'd set you on fire.
Don't say nothing, Marshal. Don't tell him. I'll leave. I'll leave right now.
Well, you got rid of him in a hurry.
I saved him from being shot and Ira Puckett from hanging for it, Kitty.
Oh, that was Jed Larner.
Uh-huh.
He's the one that ought to hang.
Yeah, he didn't mean to kill the old man, Kitty.
What's the difference?
Well, legally there's some.
Enough to give Ira his foot back?
You're sure hard to argue with, Kitty.
Why? Because I think straight?
Let's talk about San Francisco, huh?
I've changed my mind. I think I'll go to New York.
Oh?
Marshal Dillon.
It's Ira Puckett, man.
Yeah.
He looks awful mad. Good thing he isn't armed.
Well, he can always find a gun, Kitty.
You done it, Marshal. It was you, wasn't it?
You saw Jed Larner, huh?
Jumped on his horse and rode out of town before I could stop him. And I had to stand there and watch. I didn't even have a rock to throw at him. Why'd you do it, Marshal?
To save you from hanging, Ira.
Well, I'd rather hang and live this way. I wasn't born to become my helpless old man. The least you could have done was let me fight my own battle like I always did out on the plain. You took my manhood away from me, Marshal.
You're living in town now, Ira, among people. Why don't you get used to it?
All right. All right. All right, I will. I'll live like you town people.
Fine. Then why don't you start by getting yourself a job?
I'm a-going to. I sure am. And it's going to pay me a lot of money, too.
What do you mean by that?
You'll find out, Marshal. When it's too late.
This is Jack Webb. I suppose most of you have made your New Year's resolutions. I guess with most of us, that implies some kind of a change. Well, beginning with this brand new year, we've made a few changes in our Dragnet television show. I like to think the most important is what we call the Dragnet New Look. In our brand new series, we'll show for the very first time the new Los Angeles Police Administration building, the first of its kind in the world. But the biggest change of all is our new television time, 1/2 hour earlier. Now, speaking of a change, here's a great suggestion for 1956. Change to milder, better-tasting Chesterfields. My cigarette. Make it yours. I think this little jingle of ours sums up our case for Chesterfield very nicely.
Put a smile in your smoke and just give 'em a try. Light up a Chesterfield. They satisfy.
It's a nice morning, ain't it, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, thanks to that wind we had last night.
Well, it kept me awake.
All night, Chester?
Well, no, sir, I wouldn't say that. About 15 minutes. Hey, look over there by the bank, Mr. Dillon. Ain't that Ira Puckett?
Yeah. That's the first time he's had his team and wagon out.
Where you reckon he's going?
And right now, he's gone into the bank.
Well, what's he carrying that shotgun for? He can't do no hunting in the bank.
Yes, he can, Chester. Come on.
Mr. Dillon, you don't mean to say old Puckett's going to hold that bank up?
He said last night he's going to start living like town people and get a job and make a lot of money. This could be his idea of how to do it.
You sure couldn't have no other reason to carry that shotgun in there. You going in after him, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a shotgun.
I know. Look, Chester, take his team and wagon off somewhere. Lead him around back of the bank, huh? Out of sight. Maybe we can handle this without a shooting.
All right, sir.
Hurry it up, Chester. He's coming out.
I'm long gone, Mr. Dillon.
Marshal,
Come on out, Puckett. I'm not stopping you.
you better not try it. I can shoot with one hand, Marshal.
Yeah, sure.
Don't you try to follow me. Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Where's my wagon? Where's my team?
You're in a bad fix, Puckett.
Somebody stole them. I can't get away without my team.
No, you can't, Puckett. So you might as well give up.
You've done it. You're behind this, Marshal.
You gonna shoot me?
Well, why shouldn't I?
Because you're in enough trouble already. And shooting me won't help a bit. You're trapped, Puckett, and there isn't a thing you can do about it. Now, you use your head.
All right. Here. Here's the money. Now, you bring my outfit back. I ain't going to jail, Marshal.
It's like I said, Puckett, shooting me isn't gonna help you. And I'm not gonna do a thing about your outfit.
You think you outsmarted me, don't you?
Give it up, Puckett. You're licked.
Yeah, well, No. Oh, I can't shoot you, Marshal. Here, take the gun.
Good.
I'm nothing but a helpless old fool. Can't even rob a bank proper.
I'm not sure you really wanted to, Puckett.
What?
All you wanted was to prove something about that manhood you think has been taken away from you. But you sure picked a foolish way to do it.
Yeah, I guess it did.
My goodness, I thought he wouldn't never give up, Mr. Dillon.
He didn't have much choice, Chester.
I went in the back way and told the people in the bank to keep out of the way. You want me to take him to jail?
Oh, no, I can't stand jail. Please, Marshal.
Lock him up, Chester. I'll return this money and have a talk with Mr. Bodkin. I'll be over later. I thought I told you to lock him up, Chester.
Well, I started to, Mr. Dillon, but I just couldn't stand the look on him when I got him in the cell.
Ira, you know, it seems to me everybody treats you pretty well.
Yeah, everybody but Jed Larner.
That's true. But Chester and I brought you in. Doc saved your life. I kept you from hanging, and if I hadn't outsmarted you at the bank, you'd probably be lying dead somewhere now. You know, it seems to me everybody's gone to a lot of trouble for an old man full of a lot of foolish pride. What do you think?
I've been thinking, Marshal. Sitting here thinking. You know what? You're right. But it's too late now.
No, it isn't, Ira.
What?
I explained everything to Mr. Bodkin at the bank, and he's willing to drop any charges against you. But on one condition.
What's that?
Well, to be honest with you, it was my idea, but Mr. Bodkin agreed. You get a job here and quit being so doggone ornery. Otherwise, you're going to go to jail.
Oh, what could I do with this crippled foot?
Well, seeing you're so handy with a shotgun, I think Jim Buck might hire you to ride messenger on the stage.
You think so?
Well, he told me he would.
You went and saw him?
And it doesn't take any walking, Ira. So, how about it, huh?
Well, I never had a job like that. But a man's got to make a change once in a while, ain't he? And it'll sure be a good way to start the new year.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad.
People everywhere are finding that Chesterfield packs more pleasure. Yes, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. For the more perfectly packed your cigarette, the more taste and mildness are released for you. And Chesterfield, made with Accuray, is more perfectly packed than any cigarette could ever be before. Firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying to the taste. And Accuray Chesterfield has an open, easy draw that unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos. So remember, Chesterfield packs more pleasure. Buy Chesterfield. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
You know, out on the high plains, they used to have a saying, never argue with a mule, a cook, or a horse and buggy doctor. Well, next week, an Easterner who never heard that saying comes to Dodge. And he makes the mistake of fighting with the wrong people. He nearly dies as a result of it. But that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman McDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Ralph Moody and James Nasser. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Make today your big red letter day, your L&M red letter day. Superior taste and filter, it's the miracle tip. Make today your big red letter day. Change to L&M today. L&M's got everything.
Superior taste.
And superior filter.
Get L&M today.
This is it. L&M, superior taste and filter. L&M, America's best filter tip cigarette.
Be sure and listen to another transcribed story of the Old West on Gunsmoke next week at this same time.
I hope you listened to a previous show in this series where I interviewed Ray Kemper, the last living sound effects person from Gunsmoke. He was telling me how talented the men and women who participated in that show were, not only the actors, but everybody behind the scenes. How incredible it must have been to have been at CBS back in the 1940s and 50s. So much wonderful radio was going on at Columbia Square. The building has a great heritage, but it wasn't that long ago that CBS vacated and went somewhere else, and it's sad that the new owners of the old Columbia Square building just don't understand the marvelous things that happened there. Now another show from January 1956 as we continue our look at Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed, thanks to Accuray. They satisfy the most.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Well, hello, Doc.
Chester?
You going out on a sick call?
I don't usually carry my bag when I'm going for a beer. Why, did you want something?
Oh, no. I just thought I'd stop by.
Well, you can walk with me at the stable if you want to. I'm going out to Jake Morrison's. His boy has the ague.
Oh, now ain't that a shame? Seems like everybody's getting the ague these days. Had a touch myself last week.
Oh, that's on?
You know, most folks swears by Osgood's Caligog. But I found me some new stuff. Professor Curtis's original Mameluke liniment.
Mameluke?
Look, it says right here on the bottle what it's good for. Guaranteed to cure cramps, pains in the joints, sore throat, frosted feet, rheumatism, lumbago, old sores, bites of insects and reptiles, mange, salt, rheum, dysentery, diarrhea, and cholera.
Well, a regular medical arsenal all in one bottle. And it's doing you good, is it?
Well, of course, Doc.
Well, then how come you're still walking around like a buffalo with ring bone?
Well, maybe I still got just
Oh, so you come to me for some free advice now, didn't you? Well, I'll just give you some free advice. Chester, stop eating all that salt pork and dried beans.
What?
And put some fresh greens in your stomach.
Why?
And stay away from the saloons for a few days.
Oh, now, Doc, a little whiskey and sugar never hurt
a
nobody.
little whiskey. Oh, and most important, take all those patent medicines you got and use them for cleaning your boots. They're just the thing to kind of toughen up the leather. And as far as I'm concerned now, Chester,
What's the matter, Doc? Doc, what is it? Something about that fellow that just rode by?
Yes, Chester.
Why, you was staring like you seen a ghost.
You go ahead, Chester. I'm going back to the office.
The office? What for?
To get my gun.
Your gun? Why?
I'm going to kill that man.
Packs more pleasure, packs more pleasure. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
The more perfectly packed your cigarette, the more taste and mildness are released for you. Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, has an open, easy drawer that unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos. Now, Accuray ensures an even distribution of tobacco from one end of your Chesterfield to the other. Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild yet deeply satisfying.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Buy Chesterfield, mild, yet they satisfy the most.
Mr. Dillon? Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what's the trouble, Chester?
You better come on out the plaza. Maybe you can stop him.
I'll stop who?
Doc, he's going to kill a man.
Doc?
Doc, yes, sir. He's gone and got his old army walker and strapped it to his belt, and he's marching up Front Street looking for the fellow, whoever he is.
All right, let's go.
I tried my best to stop him, but he wouldn't listen. Oh, you should have saw his face, Mr. Dillon. He means business. I never seen Doc like this.
Who was the fellow, Chester?
I never seen him before.
Well, you know what it's all about?
No, sir, but I do know one thing. I'd hate to have to face that old Walker pistol, even if 'tis an old cap and ball. Why, it'd blow a hole clean through a buffalo.
Matt!
Now, wait a minute. It's Kitty at the door of the Long Branch.
She's waving. He must be down there.
Yeah, come on.
Matt, it's Doc.
Is he in there, Kitty?
Yeah, and he's got a gun. He's threatening some man.
All right, thanks, Kitty.
And if you won't come outside, I'll kill you where you stand.
I told you I'm not going to fight you.
That's up to you. But I'm going to kill you whether you defend yourself or not.
Doc. That's enough.
Matt, you stay out of this.
Happens to be my business, Doc, when a man threatens another man in this town. When the other man doesn't want to fight, won't defend himself, it could turn out to be murder.
You think I don't know that?
You must want to kill him pretty bad.
I've wanted to for a lot of years.
Why?
I've got good reasons, Matt.
But you won't tell me, huh?
No.
All right, what about you?
I could say I don't know. I'm just a stranger passing through town. But I know.
There's no good reason for murder.
I guess he thinks there is.
Do you?
Not many men would say yes to that, now would they, Marshal?
But you won't defend yourself, huh?
I won't draw with him, no. If he's going to shoot me, he'll have to take the consequences. I'm not a fighting man, Marshal. I'm a miner. Me and my partner here, we're just traveling through Dodge. We don't want any trouble.
That's right, Marshal. We made our strike out in Arizona Territory, and we're headed back for St. Louis. Oh, we was just minding our own business, having a quiet drink when this fella comes along.
What's your name?
Clem Maddow. This is Ben Bartlett, my partner.
We don't want no trouble.
You won't have any. Go on back to your drinks.
I'm going to kill him one way or the other, Matt. And you can't stop me.
Look, Doc, you're taking an awful lot for granted. Maybe you think I won't throw you in jail for threatening murder. Maybe you think because you're the town's only doctor that you can get away
Matt, listen.
No, you listen to me. You're forgetting a lot you ought to remember, Doc. For instance, your position in this town. You ought to be setting an example instead of acting like an ordinary gun hand. And more important, your responsibility. Another man's life may be his own risk, but yours belongs to this whole town. And a good many lives depend on you. So you calm down and you put that gun away.
Hey, you sure told the old fool off.
You shut up!
Huh?
Maddow, I don't know anything about you. Maybe you're what you say, but if Doc doesn't like you, that's good enough for me. So you get out of Dodge while you got a whole skin. And you stay out.
Why should we? We got a right...
And you take your partner with you, Maddow, because I don't like him.
Sure, Marshal. We was going on tomorrow anyways. We'll ride on tonight, as soon as we stock up on some grub.
All right. Where did Doc go, Chester?
Well, up the street, probably back to the office, like you said to.
Matt, the look on his face when he went out.
Yeah, I know, Kitty. Well, I'm going up there.
Matt, you had to do it.
Yeah. I'll see you later, Kitty.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Dillon, that Maddow, he didn't seem like such a bad fellow.
No, he didn't, Chester.
I'd sooner believe bad of that partner of his, that Bartlett. That one seemed like he could be a hard case all right without half trying. But Maddow wouldn't even defend himself.
No. But I don't think that was because he was afraid to.
Well, that's true. Seemed more like he just didn't want to fight Doc. Didn't seem mad at all like Doc. More like he was sad.
Maybe a man with a guilty conscience, Chester.
Yeah, I guess so, Mr. Dillon.
You better go on over to the office, Chester, huh? I want to go up alone.
Yes, sure.
Doc. Now, Doc. Huh. Now, I wonder where he could have gone.
Mr. Dillon?
No, Chester.
Well, he didn't show up at Delmonico's for his supper, and it's way past his usual time. I've been watching the office, and his light ain't come on. Of course, he could be sitting up there in the dark.
I just tried again. He's not there.
Mr. Dillon, you don't reckon he might have just left town?
Run away? Because of what I said? Not Doc. He's too bullheaded for that. Most likely he's out there somewhere with that old pistol of his looking for Maddo.
I'm afraid you're right. Doggone it, I don't know what this town would do without Doc. He can be awful irritating at times and all, but... Hey, that was a shot.
Yeah, come on.
It's that Bartlett, Mr. Dillon.
It's Clem, Marshal. I think he's dead.
All right. Everybody stay back. Give me that lantern, will you?
He was shot in the back, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
It looks mighty bad.
He said he'd kill him, and he's done it.
Did you see who did it, Bartlett?
No. We was loading horses, and I just turned to go back into the store for another load when I heard the shot.
Anybody else around to see it?
Why, no, but after all, Marshal, can't be much doubt who did it, can there? Everybody in town heard him threaten to kill Clem. Just because the man's a doctor, it doesn't give him any right to go around murdering people.
That's enough, Bartlett. The important thing right now is to try to save this man's life.
Where will we take him at, Mr. Dillon?
There's only one place, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Now, where have you been, Doc?
I was down by the stable, and I heard a shot.
It's Maddo. He's still alive, but he was shot in the back.
Oh, I see.
As if you didn't know.
Doc, I could understand you getting into a fair fight, but not shooting a man in the back.
Why, you just gonna let him walk away like that, Marshal?
Doc! He's gonna die if he doesn't get attention right away, and you're the only doctor in town. You gonna let him die?
Where do you think I was going, Matt? Bring him up to the office. I'll have everything ready.
Packs more pleasure, packs more pleasure. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
The more perfectly packed your cigarette, the more taste and mildness are released for you. Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, has an open, easy drawer that unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos. Now, Accuray ensures an even distribution of tobacco from one end of your Chesterfield to the other. Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild yet deeply satisfying.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Buy Chesterfield, mild, yet they satisfy the most.
There we are. Is he gonna pull through, Doc?
I don't know. I've done all I can.
Ah, good.
You really didn't have to stand here and watch, man.
I know I didn't, Doc. That's not why I stayed. I thought maybe I could help. And I wanted this.
The bullet?
Yeah, that's right. You see, Doc, I knew you didn't shoot Maddo, but I had to be able to prove it.
How did you know?
Because Maddo was shot in the back. I tried to tell you out there, Doc, only you didn't understand.
Oh.
But you did have me kind of worried when you started to walk away from him.
Why, it never occurred to me to walk away from him. I guess being a doctor's a lot more important than any personal grudge. Well, I reckon I'm under suspicion, aren't I?
Doc, look at this .45 bullet. Took it out of Maddo's chest. Now, it couldn't have been shot from that old pistol of yours, could it?
No. I guess it couldn't. Well, then who did it?
Well, that's not hard to figure. Oh, Bartlett, Chester, you can come in now.
How is he, Marshal?
I think he's going to be all right.
He ain't gonna die? Say, that's mighty fine. Well, I was plenty scared with this man operating and all.
You needn't have worried. He's a doctor and a good one. You see, he didn't shoot your partner.
He didn't?
No, we have the proof for that.
Who did?
Now, there's only one other man in town who'd have had any reason to. A coward who saw a golden opportunity to double his takings of a mining strike by shooting his partner in the back. You just keep your hands away from your belt, Bartlett.
Well, want me to get his gun, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, Chester.
Well, you're crazy, Marshal. You can't prove this.
I think we can, Bartlett. Anyway, we'll just wait and see. All right, take him down and lock him up, Chester.
Yes, sir. Come on, you.
Doc, looks like Maddo's gonna come too.
Yes, maybe. His color's better. You know, it's funny. I don't hate him anymore.
You mind telling me why you ever did?
It happened a long time ago. It had to do with a girl we were both pretty fond of. She chose Maddo, but he jilted her. She drowned herself. I swore I'd kill him. And I carried that hate in my heart all these years. That's not good for a man.
No, it's not, Doc.
Well, you brought me to my senses, Matt, in that saloon. Thank you.
I looked all over for you afterwards.
Oh, guess I was out of Jake Morrison's. I remembered I had to treat his boy for the ague, so I did.
Doc.
Oh, yes, Clem. Now you just take it easy. That's right. You lie still. You're going to be all right.
Doc, I wanted to tell you I'm awful sorry for what happened. Maybe sorrier than you. I loved her. I would have come back if I could have.
Well, I guess I never even thought of that. Well, we've both been sorry too long. It's all over now.
Thanks, Doc.
Now you just go on to sleep. You get your rest there now. And the world will look a lot better to you tomorrow. That's it. That's it.
Well, good night, Doctor.
Good night, man.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accurate, packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Firm and pleasing to the lips. Chesterfield, mild, yet they satisfy the most.
You know, cowboys with 6 months trail pay made the frontier a good place for a crooked gambler. Next week, one comes to town and gets cured of his bad habits the hard way. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman McDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The special music for Gunsmoke was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin and John Daner. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Make today your big red letter day, your L&M red letter day. Superior taste and filter, it's the miracle tip. Make today your big red letter day. Change to L&M today. L&M's got everything.
Superior taste.
And superior filter.
Get L&M today.
This is it. L&M, superior taste and filter. L&M, America's best filter tip cigarette.
Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story of the Western frontier when Matt Dillon, Chester Proudfoot, Doc, and Kitty, together with all the other hard-living citizens of Dodge, will be with you once more. It's America growing west in the 1870s. It's Gunsmoke.
Shows from January of 1956. We've been talking a lot about how Gunsmoke made the transition from radio to television. You know, not long after the radio show started, CBS was already talking about taking Gunsmoke to the little tube. Norman McDonald, the driving force behind Gunsmoke, was said to have had a small interest in moving to television, but he said at one time, quote, "Our show is perfect for radio." One of the great chronicles of old-time radio wrote that Gunsmoke, confined by a picture, could not possibly be as authentic or attentive to detail. CBS simply took it away from McDonald and began preparing for the television series. As I mentioned, William Conrad, who was always a big guy, lost a lot of weight thinking he would be appearing on television as Matt Dillon. But that was not the case. How those actors, how the cast and crew of Gunsmoke Radio kept going without skipping a beat when they realized in many ways they had been betrayed. And that's it for this time around. I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for joining me on Gunsmoke Theater as we go back into the archives to play more of the episodes of the radio show that changed everything for the better. Gunsmoke, right here on YouTube.